receiver quarterback combos around.
Yeah, probably one of the best in the country, if not the best. Gallup is a special player. Nick Stevens has played really well. They've been explosive on the offensive side. So that stands out. Defensively, we played against these guys. They're structurally very well coached. They do a great job. I think the linebackers, front seven, very good. Probably one of the best that we've seen. And on the back end as well, they're playing. I think they're playing pretty sound. Special teams wise, solid, and these guys are. This is a good football team. I think just overall, you look at them, they're a good football team. They're well coached. I think they're playing really well. I know that last game they played in against Wyoming, there's a lot of elements in that game too, a lot of different factors that went into it. But Colorado State's they've been getting better, throughout the year, and I think that's a sign of a good football team. And Coach Bobo does a great job.
I was going to ask you, how hard is it to scout when there's snow all over the field and when you're watching tape and stuff? And how do you think that does it make it tougher because maybe they are doing things differently because of that than they might normally do?
Yeah, I think it changes everybody's game plan. You've got to deal with that. That's part of the factors that go into the game. And Wyoming did a good job. They ran their quarterback, and he's 6'5", 240. He's a big guy, so he was able to make some plays. But it changes the game. When you're not your delay games, you come back out and the weather's okay at that point, decent enough. This was a tough game. You could see the snow and the lines and what they had to deal with. And we got a little taste of that a few years ago at Wyoming at the end of the game, but this was going on, and they had to deal with quite a few elements. So, yeah, it changes their game. It changes it up. You still use it. It's still part of the game. You still got to look at how their team played, and it was a tough game.
During this win streak, going back to other than Brett's first pass against BYU, you guys have not turned the ball over. What has been so different, or what have you guys done to enable that to happen? I know maybe luck's part of it, but what have you guys done to prevent teams from taking the ball away from you?
Yeah, nothing really different. We haven't nothing different than we've done in the past. We emphasize ball security. We emphasize turnovers. No different than we did 3 years ago. So I don't know. I guess the guys are buying into that and paying attention to it. I think they see that when you're able to turn the ball over or get the takeaways and not turn the ball over, you win games. It helps you at least. But I think that's a credit to our guys, just understanding that, and our coaches emphasizing it. But it's always been emphasized. It's always been a major point of emphasis. Nothing's changed that way. So I hope it continues, and our guys stay focused on it. If they don't, and that doesn't become a major factor, in our everyday preparation, then you're probably not going to have those same results when it's all said and done. But it's always been focused on, and I think a key ingredient in some of the wins that we've had, over the years is we've hung onto the ball and we've gotten takeaways.
The exterior things, I know they don't matter necessarily to the wins and losses that'll happen on Saturday, but for a long time you guys had this football facility, which is one of the nicest in the Mountain West. I'm just kind of curious your take on Colorado State getting a new football stadium and kind of how that might create a little bit of a competitive advantage maybe in recruiting or whatnot for them.
Yeah. No, I think that's what good football programs do. They continue to keep developing, whether it's stadium, new facilities. Wyoming's got a new facility. I think Fresno State's building a new facility. I think everybody in our conference is doing something new. And, we got this, and this is, this was one of the nicest in the country. It still is. When people come in here and recruits come in here, they love it. They can see how valuable it is. We certainly do, but if you're not doing something in this market with recruiting and attacking the future, if you want to say it like that, then eventually people are going to pass you up. And I think that Colorado State, they've made a commitment to their program. They made a commitment to building a stadium. They made a commitment to facilities, and those things, they make a huge difference because that helps in recruiting. It helps, just in the commitment to the program and the fans and everybody around it. And it's extremely important. It's got to, I think good programs do that. They continue to find ways to, even if they've got, a lot of the nice things, there's still ways to make your program better. And, certainly Colorado State's done a really nice job of that. I'm looking forward to the stadium. I have, I've seen it on TV, to go on there and play in it. It looks really nice. It looks like, they did a first-class job with it. It looks like the fans, they get into it. It's going to be a tough place to play. So that's going to be exciting for our guys.
Receivers, seems like the two true freshmen have been playing. Seems like they've been improving lately. But why has it maybe been a challenge to develop some high school receivers here for you guys? Ced came in, he's been a JC guy, but develop those high school guys and get them going. Why do you think that's been a challenge, and what is the level of difficulty trying to get those guys to be number one type receivers?
I don't know the challenge. We did it with Pettis and Titus. They seem to work out pretty good. I think anything, that's done right takes a little bit of time. I wouldn't say that our system is any more sophisticated than, somebody else's. I know offensive coaches all want to say it's, what they have is so simple. It's not. I mean, if you're really trying to teach a guy to, coming out of high school, how to run a route properly, how to catch the ball properly, how to be an efficient route runner, I think it just takes time. And not everybody rolls into the facility and just has all these tools. We got to be able to coach them up. And I think those guys have been productive in their own ways. You don't see it necessarily from the numbers, but they've ran guys off. They've occupied coverage. They've blocked when they've been in there, and then all of a sudden now they're starting to reap some benefits of that hard work by having some touches and making some plays, and that helps us. And I think it's also, I think the offensive staff's done a good job of distributing the ball. And then when you do that, you can distribute it, but the guys have to make plays. So, we've targeted those guys before, and now they made some plays, and now they stand out. Hopefully that continues.
You mentioned the atmosphere on Saturday. I mean, they've lost two kind of rivalry games back to back here, and they're probably not happy about that, obviously. And they're debuting new uniforms, and you mentioned the stadium. I mean, do you expect them to kind of, I don't know if ticked off's the right word, but do you expect them to come out pretty motivated, I guess, against you guys on Saturday?
Yeah, I think Coach Bobo has those guys motivated every game. I don't think it has to just be a Boise State that's rolling in there. They seem pretty motivated against Oregon State when they played. Their fans seem pretty motivated already. So I don't know if it's a Boise State that is going to get him any more hyped that way. I know our guys are looking forward to it. Like we talked about it already. We like being on the road. We're going to go in there, and it'll be a great crowd. It'll be loud, and they're going to be against us, and that's part of it. That's part of playing on the road. You've mentioned the uniforms. We knew about that. They're going to have a new look. We did that last week. I mean, that was already set. That wasn't just something that they came up with, and this was already set. They had it ready, so we'll put on some uniforms too, and we'll go out there and play. And bottom line is, it really comes down to what we're doing this week in our preparation and staying focused, and that's the key. That's where this team has done their best work, when they stay focused, day to day and throughout the week. And if we want to start believing all the hype or listening to things or getting on social media and retweeting stats and things like that about ourselves, I mean, what does that do? That does nothing whatsoever. That has no impact on the game. And that's just my feeling on it. I mean, everybody likes to be patted on the back and loved up and all that, and that really has nothing to do with it. We're going to play a good football team, and we're going to go into a really what I've at least seen, a really cool environment, and a new stadium and a great fan base, and it's going to be difficult. And you know what? We better prepare ourselves to go out there and play well.
Having played the position yourself, what impresses you most about Colorado State quarterback experience?
Well, he wasn't the starter. He was the starter and then wasn't the starter, and then he was the starter. Probably that, handling that. I don't know him. but I've watched him. And take whoever we play, doesn't matter. Just take good quarterback play. I like to watch quarterbacks. I like to see good quarterback play. I don't care what team they're on. You see, like we did last week, Nevada's quarterback. He was the starter, then not the starter, then he's the starter, and he was playing, in my opinion, pretty good football. We did a good job against him, but Nick Stevens no different. I think he's played really well in their system. I think what they're doing offensively fits him. Coach Bobo has always done a really good job with his quarterbacks and his offense. So I'm not surprised. But for him personally, just kind of handling the back and forth, and all of a sudden he's back in that position. He's been playing really well. He's got guys around him. Gallup is a fantastic receiver, one of the best I've seen, and we've got a chance to play against him. He's just getting better. So I think he's done a really nice job in what they've asked him to do and how they run their offense.
I know with trick plays and stuff, at times you get them from other places. I know that Brett said the one that he caught was what you guys ran against Wyoming last year. But how'd you guys come up with the one to Montel? And it was just interesting. I mean, the field kind of parted. He ran right up the middle. And I mean, it's probably happened before, but if it has, I haven't seen it happen before.
You saw it. We did against Utah State last year, but we used J-Mac. And so we didn't have J-Mac, so we used Montel. That was the change up on the play. So we did basically the same thing, and I don't know. I mean, most of the stuff is not original. Somebody's done something like that. There's been we've thrown it back across the field. We've thrown it down the same side, and we threw it down the middle last year against Utah State, and then this year we've practiced that. I don't know how many weeks we've had. It might have been since last spring. We got a lot of reps on it, and it was just time to do it. And it was, it's one of everybody's got. They try to run. Nevada ran a trick play on us. They flipped it back to the quarterback, kind of reverse, flip it back. They had hit that on. I don't know who it was before us. They hit it right down the sideline. It was a big play, and our guys did a good job on it. So, some weeks we have them in, some weeks that. We usually have something. I don't know if it's going to get called or not, and that was just the right time for that. But it was just a variation of what we had done before. So you can take that one now and scrap it and put that away for a few years, and then we'll probably bring it back out again at some point.
When you look at Colorado State's defense, what impresses you about them, and what do you need to do to go against them? And then also on the offensive side, maybe talking about the running backs too.
Yeah, well, defensively, the front seven. I think their D-line, I think their edges, their linebackers, I think they're all very physical. I would say that. That's probably the biggest thing. Without just singling one guy out right now, I think they're all very physical. They're experienced on defense. They got quite a few guys back. I think they got 9 seniors on there. They play man coverage. It's not just – not just in quarters coverage. They play man, and they come up and they get in your face, and they're pretty good at it. They got a pretty good guy on the offensive side. Some wide receivers they get to go against, so they're pretty good. We just got to be ready for a physical front seven, and then guys up in our face is what we have to be ready for. I think they're aggressive. I think they're confident in what they're doing, and it shows on film. As far as their offense goes, the tailbacks, Dawkins has got over 1,000 yards. Is that right? Over 1,000 yards this year, yeah. 1,050 to be exact. Yeah, that's it. So solid, on the offensive side. They run the ball very well. I can talk about each guy individually. Their offense is very good. They're very balanced. They run the ball well. They're physical up front. Their O-line, I think, is very good. Their tight ends, their fullbacks, however you want to label them, those guys are physical. Their tailbacks are downhill. A lot like San Diego State. You're playing against some guys that are really good at carrying the rock. And then they have their play action, they have their answers, they have their boots, they have all those things off it. They're very well balanced, and they're able to do that because they can run it and then they can throw it as well. That's what I've seen. So, as far as what we have to do defensively, we got to play our best is what we need to do. So that's going to be a major challenge this week. It's just, this isn't a team that does one thing really well. I think they do everything really well.
I was wondering if you saw Curtis Weaver's Heisman post when he was making that interception, trying to run down the field, and your thoughts on that guy. And it seems like whenever he's in there, he makes a huge play for you.
Yeah, I saw the picture. I don't know if I call it a Heisman pose. I saw the pic. He's been really good. I think the key for Curtis has done a really good job of being focused each and every day. And he's very talented. He shows it on the field. I think he's been consistent in games. He had a turnover. He had a sack. He's done well there. He's providing pressure on the quarterback. But I think he's really done that, through his week of prep, each and every week. So, he does his best work when he has a really great week of practice, and then he comes out to the game. And then, the thing about Curtis, he's just got a lot of energy, but that shows up and helps our entire team when that preparation Sunday through Friday has been right. Then it's just cut him loose, let him go out there and play, because it's just a matter of him just doing his job. And when he has fun doing it, he's a pretty good player. He's shown that this year. He's fun to be around, and I like his mindset. I've liked his focus, but that's the key to why he's had success, in my opinion, and it's got to stay that way.
From a game planning perspective, you've obviously been more involved over the years on offense, but the way you're talking about Colorado State's offense, you've obviously watched them too.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do on that side? Do you watch the other team's offense quite a bit during the week and talk to the defensive coaches, or how do you kind of approach the other side of the ball?
Well, I watch their offense because it's common opponents, and I also watch their offense because what they do. They're having success. I think that's one thing. You look at what they're doing and how they're doing it. So I've seen them before this week. I've watched what they've done. As far as game planning, no. It's really about how we're going to try to stop some of the things they're doing. And I'm not going in there and saying this is how we're going to do it. But they know. They know that we have things that we talk about every week that we want to get done on the defensive side. And then it's just a matter of, there's the process already. How do we go out there and get it done against what they do? And how are we going to get a matchup the way we want to? And then, the defensive staff, Andy, those guys, they do a great job. I obviously know what they're trying to accomplish. If there's something in there that I feel like is necessary, and usually it's not. I mean, they've seen it. They've watched more film than I watch on their offense. But this one in particular, just over the years and having a relationship with Coach Bobo, and when he was at Georgia, he came out to a practice. When I was at Texas, he came out to a practice and spent some time. I went out to a practice at Georgia. I think there's a respect factor in there too. You know some people, you kind of watch what they're doing, and he's done a really good job. So, but as far as the game planning, no. I mean, I know what they're trying to accomplish and what they're doing, and sometimes too as an offensive coach, you get some ideas. You see what guys are doing, you get some ideas, and I'm sure it's gone both ways. Where it's like, hey, we should try this. I've seen, we've used things in our league that other teams have done. We've used them in games, and I've seen other teams use what we've done in games. So you're kind of at that point in the season where this is how you might be able to attack your opponent, and guys are kind of, using some other guys' ideas or wrinkles from it, I should say. That's not original, but wrinkles from it, and that's what teams are doing.
You talked a little bit about it after the game, and that you look ahead, you're kind of looking ahead, and you're not focusing on the task at hand, and it can obviously hurt you. Well, the last 2 years that's happened, and I'm just kind of curious. You guys seem pretty focused now, but how have maybe those last couple of experiences this time of year helped you kind of shape the mindset for the stretch run this year?
Well, I think it re-emphasizes, and again, none of that's new. I can go back to 2002 as the tight ends coach, and that wasn't like, hey, we're jumping 3 games ahead because we're going to be in this big game. We've never done that. So now, talking about it and getting guys to actually do it are two different things. That's the difference. And we've always talked about it. We've always emphasized that. We've always tried to get it done. I'm not saying we've always gotten it done. So hopefully, coaches and players, they pay attention to, what we're doing today. I hope that happens. I can't make them do it. I'm not, I can emphasize it. I can talk about it. I can make sure that we're trying to stay focused on the task at hand. It all sounds good, but they got to actually do it. If they start paying attention to all these other factors that are out there, because everybody wants to speculate on what could be, then, we'll get caught up in it and we won't play well. It's that simple. Go back 5 weeks ago. We were really focused 5 weeks ago. We came off a bye week. We were terrible in the Virginia game. And we had a bye week, and we came back, and we seemed pretty determined and focused. And we've kind of operated that way. So, I told the team and the coaches, we've done it both ways. I mean, I've won games and lost games. I prefer winning. So it's more fun that way. And so if we can just continue to keep doing these things here, and, they're all on the board. You go in the staff room, they're all right there. It doesn't change. It's all right there. The process is right there. Do these things and get better at them each and every week, because the process for the most part stays the same, but the challenge is completely different. And if people get bored with the process, then you get bored with winning or having success. I guess some people do. I don't know. I've never had that problem, but that's the focus. So same mentality as far as trying to emphasize it, but it's just a matter of whether our coaches and players will do it.